Hey everyone, another day. I had a few things that I've done this week. My spare core locks turned up, which was good. I'm still waiting on the flexible silicon ducting for the dash vents. But in the interim, I went down to the local salvage yard, and always go Tuesdays, it's 20% off. So that's good. I spent 3 frustrating hours underneath a Mitsubishi Pajero 4-wheel drive, hacking off the cab mounts off the chassis. Getting into the side of it with the cordless grinder was no problem, but on the top, where a flap came off the mount and welded to the top of the chassis, couldn't get to that. So that was fun. I had to attack that with a cold chisel on my back with a crook shoulder, a back that's just recovered from a pinched nerve, lying in diff oil of all stuff, because that stuff, once it gets into your clothes, you never get the smell out no matter how many times you wash it. But I achieved. So that's what I cut off. Don't worry about the bushes. I grabbed the bushes anyway. I thought, I argued with the woman up the front too, because she didn't have these listed on her computer as to what to sell them as, and I said, are they listed under brackets? She says, no, they're not listed under brackets. She said, what's a fair price? And I said, well, I reckon for 3 hours work to get 4 brackets off, I reckon they're worth $20 a lot. And she said, how's 30? And I said, well, I think they're worth 20. And she said, well, I think they're worth 30. And I said, well, fuck you, I'm going to pay it, because I just want to get home. I'm sore, I'm dirty, and I've had enough. So yeah, so I got these. So these are going to be beautiful. I'll just take this chock out. These are going to be really nice when they fit up to the chassis rail. Now I haven't decided yet, because I have to sit the cab back on the front, but if you remember in previous videos, I wanted to get something that was fairly long that would help support all of this. Now these just look like they're going to work perfect, but you know, and I honestly, it's going to be extremely close. I think they'll be perfect, but if not, I can always put them, sorry about the glare on that fluoro, and replace a tube on it too. As you remember, this was the obviously the step up that I had to put into this back rail to drop the cab over the chassis, and then I ended up drilling a hole through here and a hole through the chassis, and I put a bolt through there. That's still going to happen. But the actual cab mount's not going to be under that. I'm just going to have a really thin piece of rubber, like a toolbox liner that I've pointed out before in some of the videos, just to stop vibration, and that stuff will compress down to nothing. And then, well, my chassis rail sits there, so I now have. I can't really show you with this bar here, but I think you get the idea. That would be welded to the side of the chassis, and the cab mount would pretty much be there. So it would be taking up a good portion of the back of this cab. It's a lot better than where it was originally supported, which was the original bracket still on the chassis, and that original bracket's here. So I'm actually stepping out quite a significant bit there, 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches. So I can either use those on the back or the front, and if they're too long for the front, I have these ones which are nice and sturdy. As you can see, that's still a fairly decent cab mount to put under the front of that. So yeah, it would definitely work on the back. Now, when I went onto their website, they had listed that they had 2 Mitsubishi Pajeros in the salvage yard. So I needed something between a 1996 and a 2006 model, and they listed it. They had a 2000 and a 2002 model. Think I could find them? No, not on your life. They had a 94. So these mounts are off a 94. This is why I grabbed these bushes as well, because these are the 96 to 2006 bushes. They only use a single bush, where these ones, now you'll have to excuse me, I'll set my camera up here, and I hope I get this tripod right. Okay, the way these were, I'll do it off the back because I definitely know this, I remember how the back was set up. So these went through there like that, and then is it that one? No. Here's me telling you I know how it all went together. Yeah, I think it was like this. This sleeve sort of went down inside. Whoops, sorry guys. The sleeve sort of went down inside there like that, and then obviously the bolt went through the floor pan, through here, and out the bottom. Now, I don't know why there's rubber top and bottom, because the cab's sitting here. I don't know why you need it on the bottom. The later models didn't have a top and bottom rubber. They only had this one. Like that. Feels like it's got a solid base on it. It's hard to tell because it's black and it's sort of moulded into the rubber, but you know, that's a pretty full-on rubber setup there. And I think, you know, I'm going to do away with that, with those rubbers, and I'm just going to take this, which happens to be the same diameter as this. These top ones are actually smaller, as you can see, but that's how they were set up, and that was just filled up with dirt in there around that. So these Mitsubishi sort of cocked up on that, I guess, a bit. But these ones, it's almost as if, and I haven't cleaned it out, but it's, if I can do this without making myself look like an idiot. So I'm just still getting the dirt out. Anyway, we'll go with this one because they're the same. But these are a much better fit. It's like these were made for these brackets, and that's probably they probably stuck with the same brackets, but just went with an improved bush. So that's what I'm going to have. That'll be welded to the chassis. The cab will sit on top of this. There'll be a hole drilled out in a plate, which will sit above these mounts and will be welded into the floor subframe. And so that hole will pierce the plate. So it will come through the plate. And then obviously you would just put your big washer on there, or actually there's one already. You put your big washer and your bolt on, and that's it. Nice and simple. I don't know why you need rubber on the bottom. I don't know why you need it. And if I work that out at a later stage, at least I got these. But always just take a little bit off the top here, because they do protrude through. Almost take a little bit off the top there and sort of mount them like that type thing. There we go. That actually went in a bit better. So yeah, so these are the later Mitsubishi bushes, and these were the earlier ones. So I've got something to play with, guys. Now I did a really quick cleanup yesterday. I didn't have much time to really do anything. I was flat out. I had an investigator come to my house from the Victorian Building Authority, who's investigating the contractor that worked on my house several years ago and caused, the job was a $53,000 job. He caused $43,000 worth of damage. So that's what I keep talking about when I say court cases. I had to take him to court and I won, but technically I lost because I didn't get the 43. I got $10,000, and I can't take him back to court. And the only thing that can happen now is that the Victorian Building Authority, who are also investigating the engineer, the surveyor and the plumber, I'd say they're all in a heap of shit because of the codes, or the breaches of the codes, building codes. The VBA can clearly see that already, without having even sat down and did a full-on interview with me. I've had correspondence with them over the past nearly 2 years now. But yesterday was the first time I got to meet somebody from the VBA, and she was really good. She took the statement, had a look at the house. So that's going to go ahead. Hopefully, if they prosecute him, then I can claim through the 7 years builder's warranty insurance that I got when I did the job. But the crazy thing is that I can't actually claim on that whilst ever the contractor is alive. Okay, well, whilst ever the contractor is alive, or his company remains solvent, even though he's not technically doing any work and hasn't done any work for a number of years now due to health, he still kept the company name solvent. So it saves him from going into bankruptcy and then everybody putting claims in. So that's the only thing that can happen. If they deregister him, from what I understand, if they deregister him for breaches of the building codes, and he loses his builder's license, therefore he can no longer, even if I wanted him to, he can't come in and fix my house. So therefore the insurance company is then forced to pay out what it will cost for another contractor to come in to fix the house. So that's chewed up the last couple of days, and that's why I haven't done much. But yeah, I had like this little 15-minute window yesterday or the day before, and I just sort of ground these down a little bit. I've got to clean them right up, but I'm not ready to mount them yet. So yeah, I just took you on the long way around to explain why I hadn't cleaned those up. But that's my videos, you know what I'm like. Another thing that I did today is I'd elongated the holes in that dropper bracket on the steering column because I needed it to go over a little bit. Originally when it was put into the truck and set up with all the linkage and everything, and this won't affect the steering linkage at all, but you know, I've spotted my rack and pinion down there, and I've tried to keep the shaft as straight as I could, but that transcribed through into the cab, and this bracket was 20 mil out. So it was, I'd already moved it. Originally back in the day when it was in the Festiva, it was mounted here somewhere. Don't ask me why it was that offset and that close to the console. As you can see, there's grind marks there where I'd cut the bracket off. So this was over here somewhere, I believe. No, there. The bracket was here originally. So then I moved it to suit the truck, and it got moved to here. And that's how it sat until this morning. And I've moved it back 20 mil. So unfortunately I've moved it twice, but this is actually going to square my steering wheel up within the cab now. You know, I didn't realise how out of square it was until the seats went in. Until I had the seats mounted true in the cab, I really had no reference point for the steering wheel. Sure, I had the dash fascia, but you know, when I mounted the column, I didn't have a steering wheel. And I ended up getting the steering wheel later, but by that stage I'd already moved this and da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, this is where it's meant to be now. This is perfect. So I'm happy with that. It was only a 20 mil move, which is by moving that over is going to help straighten that out a little bit, and yeah, all good. So another thing I did this morning too was I got this cowl vent back in, and I chopped the bar off because, as I mentioned in previous videos, it was interfering with this brace, and I tapped the thread. I found this chrome bar in the shed. I don't know what it came off, but it's nice, it's chrome plated, so all good. I found that in my shed, my Aladdin's Cave, and bought it out, and I tapped the thread on the end of that, and then I tapped the thread into the arm of this, and I borrowed my dad's tap and die set. Now, it's a cheap Chinese thing. The thread seemed to tap really well onto the bar, but don't ask me why it didn't tap well into the handle. So basically the bar doesn't really, it's a very, very loose screw in, and if you really sort of wiggle it, you can push it through. So I've just put a nylock nut on there, which means that I can actually remove this handle if I need to. But as you can see, I bent it, and then I bent it again to step out, and by the time the dashboard goes on, the dash panel, and I can adjust this because it's on a nylock nut, so if I want to step it back a little bit to get it right under the very front lip of the dash, I can. At the moment I think it's sitting pretty good, but I'll give you a look. I thought I was going to have to cut into the side of the console. Remember I said I was going to work out what the action was and cut a groove in the console? I don't need to do that now because I've done it a different way. So I haven't tested it with the aircon unit back in, so I have to put the aircon unit back in and trial it. But I thought, whilst it's out and we've got nice open space here, I'll show you what I did. But I haven't quite got that nylock nut done up tight enough, but you get the idea. And that spring is the original spring. The one I had on it was a little bit too loose. I'd taken the original one off, put another spring on which was looser, made it easier to open the cowl vent, but then it was too loose, it was sloppy, and I decided to put this in the vise this morning and just stretch it a bit so it wasn't as taut. But you sort of, like, it's not too bad, you know. But I will get the correct spring for this, so it's not as tight. But at least I've sort of got this all happening now. So that's all bent and ready to go in. And being chrome plated, I don't need to put any what do you call it, heat shrink on it to make it look nice. I must have got this from work. This must have been something they were throwing out, and I've just picked it up thinking, yeah, I'll use that one day, and yeah, I'll use it. Alright everyone, I'm back. Battery went flat. I think I got to the point where I was explaining about the chassis mounts, but anyway, I've done a shitload of work today whilst this GoPro's been on charge, and I'll give you a quick look. Not that anything looks any different from any other video, but at least you know I've done it. Okay, I ended up grinding the bracket off. This bar for the steering column dropper, and I moved it 20 mil, and that's perfectly now in line with my vent, and it feels more square in the cabin as well. So I stuck to the original floor mounting position there because I'd marked it out with a felt tip marker, and I'd put a screw in it, and I wanted it to remain in that spot at the bottom. And yeah, by moving this over, it's made a hell of a difference. But I've still got some adjustment on it because I did elongate the holes in, where was it? Let me see. These 4 bottom holes here, I've elongated them. The top ones I've left them fixed. I didn't elongate them, didn't need to. So I wanted to get this, I've just got this back in, I wanted to see how it fitted before I fully welded round that mount. So it's all looking good. What else? We got the cowl vent working today, so that's all back in. I made a handle. Here it is. Okay. Nice little handle. I found some chrome bar in my shed, which I got from work. This is part of a display unit that they were throwing out, and yeah, I scavenge parts. So this is all chrome plated. This is beautiful. I don't need to put any heat shrink or anything on that. Now I can't actually get it in there at the moment because I haven't notched out anything here in the console. I'm guessing that my slot is going to be this bottom line here, so it'll just be a little slot like that, and get this torch fixed up, and this handle will basically come through there. I've left it extra long at the moment because I'm not sure how long I need it, and the way I've done it is, I don't know if that's going to be too dark, but you might be able to see the original handle off the cowl there. I drilled a hole in it. I tried to tap it, but the problem was that the handle was too long to rotate to go through that handle whilst the cowl was fitted, and you couldn't do it out of the body. So yeah, I need to put a nylock nut on this handle when I tighten it up, but I've shortened that off and drilled the hole, and that's in the perfect spot, and I made this handle long enough that it will actually pass underneath the heater box here, so my hand can still get to at least there, to here somewhere, back here somewhere. It won't go its full extension, but it goes pretty close. It's probably only like one notch off its full extension. Nobody's going to know. So, oh geez, I'm sore today, guys. So yeah, I got that all bent up. So that worked out pretty good. So happy with that progress today. What else did I do? Must have done something because I've been flat out all day in here. Trials and tribulations of trying to bend that cowl bar too. Like I got my I've got like a gas bottle under there with a torch, and I was trying to heat it up and bend it, and it wouldn't heat up enough, and in the end, big old bar and the vice, and I bent it, and I got clearance because it was when it came back. Let me get this torch on again. When this cowl was fully closed, I don't know if you can see this. This is going to be very, very, very hard. It was hitting the back of the duct, and it was one stage from being fully closed. So I needed to take that handle and I needed to bend it forward towards the front of the truck, which I did. So yeah, it's all worked out good. What else? What's on the agenda for tomorrow? Well, now that I know that steering column, I can stand up. I've got no roof in here. Beautiful. God, my knees are sore. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll finish welding around that steering dropper bracket mount off that bar. So I'll get full welds right around the tube. And one other thing I I'll probably clean up those mounts. I'll give them a good wash down and wire brush and do whatever I'm going to do to them and get them all squared up. I can do that because the chassis is accessible out under the carport, so I'll have a little bit of a play with that, get them all cleaned up, ready for when this thing gets put back on. What else? I still need to cut. I don't know if you can see this. That grey lead pencil stands out pretty good, but I've got the marks there for the windscreen ducting to go in, and I could probably finish these ones off. These ones I can finish off because I already have the inserts, and I just need to cut into that tube, into the top of that tube. The other ducting from Hong Kong for these ones, I haven't got that yet, so I can't connect those up, but that's going to be an easy job anyway. So tomorrow I might maybe start working on these, get these set up, get these epoxied into the top of that tube, weld some little tabs off the dashboard so that I can use these factory tabs here. There's one on each one of them. They're both slightly different, but this one being extra long, I can always cut that down and re-drill it. So I can get them finished off tomorrow. How I'm going to do this, I'm not sure. Now, I've been watching YouTube videos on louvering and all that sort of stuff, and yes, it's not extremely difficult, but do I really want to go and build a die, I guess it's a die, to punch two louvers in this? Probably not. So I'm looking for ways to do this, guys. I've got a couple of ideas. One is to completely cut that rectangle out, and I've got some mesh, some very nice mesh that came off a bass guitar speaker cabinet, because I needed to replace some mesh on the front of my bass cabinet many years ago, and I've got some offcut. I could always tack that in from underneath, so you'd actually see a mesh insert in there, and that would just sit under the mesh, still screwed in. The other way is I could cut along the front here, down the sides, and bend it up so it's on an angle. Now, whether I'd actually cut little triangular pieces to go in here on the sides, I don't know. It'd really make it look neat, but they're going to be really tiny, and it's going to be a really difficult job, especially with a MIG welder, to try and get that looking good. So they're my two. They're my actually, I got a third one. The other one was to actually find the middle of this and run a slice. I've seen this done before. They just run a slice down the center of the opening, and they sort of, then from underneath they sort of punch it up, so you get a raised lip on each side. And that's a fairly neat way. You can actually stretch the metal that way without making a louver die. You can actually do it just using a block of wood to similar dimensions, or a piece of steel, because you don't need to open up the gap very much. You just need to open it up enough that the air will blow through to mist the windscreen. So I've got 3 different versions of how I could do it. Good thing is, my mate Mike, I contacted him a couple of days ago, and he finally got back to me last night. Mike's going to come over on Sunday. It's Thursday, evening now. The sun's just gone down, so it's Thursday evening now. He's going to come over on Sunday. We're going to sort of lock ourselves in this garage with pen, paper, whiteboards and everything. We're going to make a list of everything that I need Mike to take back to fabricate in his factory, for everything from running boards to this windscreen insert that we need to make. And that is crucial. I need to get that in sort of ASAP so I can put all the framework back in. But we have to establish a windscreen opening first before anything can go back in. So he's going to come here, he's going to have a look at all the little bits and pieces that I've got that I need him to do, like those windscreen wipers, because he'll tick them in like, he'll do the two wiper blades in 60 seconds, because they only need a spot, that's it. So he'll do that, and yeah, we'll work out exactly what we need. In the short term, I'm going to talk to him about these doors as well, rather than making up a steel tubular frame for doors. I'll see if making them out of sheet metal, which is going to be much better and much lighter, I'll see if that's something that he can do. He's definitely got the tools to do it. He's got the guillotine and the rollers and all that stuff at work. Yeah, it's just a matter of time and when he can do it, and that's you know, I have to wait for it. You know, this guy's going to do it at mates rates, and yeah, he'll do exactly what I asked him to do. But yeah, he'll do it his way, which is good. Yeah, not much else to tell today, guys, I don't think. I'm just having a quick scout around. Supposed to go to my Hotrod Club meeting tonight. Supposed to be there at 6:30, and I think I'm pushing it a little fine. But yeah, I'm gonna get my backside moving and get to that Hotrod Club meeting tonight, and brag a little bit about what I've been doing, because as I said, no one from the club has ever been to my place to actually see what I'm doing. So yeah, it would be nice, but you know, I know they've got their own projects, but it's a little bit the same. You come to my place, I'll come to yours. So all good. I did order my gauge set too the other day, so my gauges are on the way. I ordered the 6-pack. So Speedo, Rev Taco and the 4 gauges, and what I'm going to do is put the speedometer on the left hand side, put the 4 gauges in the middle, so 2 top, 2 bottom, and put the Rev Taco on the right hand side. So yeah, so they'll go in there nicely, measured them all up, they should all go in nicely. But like with everything else, it'll go into storage for a little while, and until I'm ready to do all the wiring. Don't want to get them damaged or anything like that. Firewall's looking good. Aircon unit, heater goes in every time, on the money. That bulkhead's sitting really good in that opening now, so I'm wrapped with that. So yeah, we're making progress, right? Well, I'm making progress. And as of Sunday, from Sunday on, me and Mike will be making progress, so yeah, all good. Anyway, I'll leave it here because I know I ramble on, but yeah, okay. That's what happens when you don't have friends. Only kidding. But yeah, I'll leave it here, and we'll pick up on where I'm at tomorrow. Cheers. Evening, everyone. It's bitterly cold. Very, very cold. It's going to get down to -1 degree Celsius tonight. So I'm starting to feel it now. It's about 8 o'clock and it's really, really cold. But anyway, I'm going to give you a bit of a look at what I've done today. I know it's all bits and pieces, but you know, these mounts, I cleaned them all up. So I gave them a good scrub, the wire brush and a dustpan brush, and got all the mud and gunk off them and everything, and cleaned up all the edges and trial fitted them up against the chassis of the truck to make sure that they were all nice and straight and that they were going to sit on straight when I welded them. So all 4 of them have been done. I also washed up the bushes as well, the ones that I wasn't going to use, but at least they're all washed in case I do decide to use them. So that got done today. What else did I do? I've been doing heaps. Okay. Started working on these ducts. God damn me. Ducts. Can't get it out. I'm shivering so bloody much. Now, these didn't need much. They just needed like a little bit of scrap metal just tacking in there. That was it. One screw through there. You remember me talking about one side being longer than the other. Didn't make any difference in the end. So, yeah, they'll go into the main ducting. Now, I made sure that I got them all lined up because these outlets have got like little tabs on them. So obviously they need to line up with the inserts that are going into that bigger tube. So I did all that and I made sure that I got all that right before I went cutting, gluing, welding or doing anything. But yeah, I've got these tabs on. I only spotted them. They didn't need to be welded. There's no pressure there. So they're all in now. I haven't cut the louvers out yet. Going to speak to Mike when he comes on Sunday about that and see what he reckons is the best way to go about it. Been playing around with the console paper template again to try and get that movement for the bar. Now I know in one of the videos I said I didn't need to do it, I'd done it a different way, but I didn't. I had to go back to the original way, and that was the only way it was going to work. So I've just got the pattern's a little bit square here at the moment, but I've just got to put a slight little radius in that, so when I will make another piece here. I won't have all these pieces stuck together. I'll make a one piece off what I got there, so it's all nice and neat, but I'll put a nice little curve there and a nice little curve on the bottom. But that all works good the way it is. I'm not going to put it back in and show you because it's a waste of time and I've done it a million times for you already. So anyway, I've epoxied these ducts in. You can see, I think you might be able to see with the light, there's a little tabs here on the side and same on this side. So they line up perfect with that. Shouldn't have any issues. They're all glued in, so that's nice now. So all good. Oh, there's an inside look at that one piece of epoxied in, which was that one there. Whilst I got this out this time, I'm going to just clean up the edges here and just make it look neat, make it look nice. My flexible ducting for the dash vent still hasn't turned up yet, so still waiting on that, but that's sort of like a no-brainer. When that turns up, I just shove it in the ends of that and shove it onto the vents and it's done. So anyway, we're back in the truck again. So had to modify this handle. It was a little different than it was yesterday, and I couldn't, as I said, I couldn't get it to go, I couldn't get this to open to all the stages that I wanted, and it probably just got to the third stage, but not enough to lock on this keyway here. So yeah, it was sort of sitting on the halfway point. But now I've reshaped this bar. I have done everything to this bar today. I had issues trying to get round that little storage compartment, this little bin. I had troubles trying to get round that. I was hitting that, so then I had to sort of come down, kick it out, come down, go back under, then down, and yeah, I spent hours and hours on it. But it works beautiful now. Another thing I did, I think I mentioned that I had issues with tapping a thread in this. Well, the thread on the end of this bar ended up basically becoming non-usable just through sliding it in and out so many times. I've basically taken the edge off the thread. So what I did is I cut the bar, and I found a good automotive bolt with a nice sort of like crush washer on it, and I had a nylock nut there. I just cut the bolt down a little bit so it wasn't interfering with the side of the heater box here, and I can demo this now. So as you can see, I'm hoping you can get the whole thing in. So there we go. That's 3 stages of the cowl vent. There is actually a 4th, which I think is a little bit of overkill, because that's quite good from the front. And it's only, as I said, it's only a novelty. I'm probably never ever going to use it, but that's open enough. So yeah, I had to sort of at one stage it was hitting that band there, so I had to sort of kick it out here and then bring it down. But then when you do that, it affects what happens here up against the tin frame, and as I said, that little storage compartment. But I've got enough room under there for my hand still to bring it back. And what I'm thinking of doing too is, this might get in the way of someone's legs if they're sitting on the passenger side. So what I'm thinking of doing is bending this at right angles. I'll use this bit of cardboard as an example. I'm thinking about bending it at right angles like that. And if you remember those old knife handle dipsticks that were really popular in the 80s, I think, and maybe the 70s, I'm going to try and pick up one of them, because from what I remember, they were a grub screw that fastened them onto the dipstick. So yeah, I'll bend this at right angles, so I've got a handle here, and I can push the handle that way. That way it'll sit right beside the console, and it won't get in the way of anybody's legs. So yeah, it's all worked out really well. Let's see if I can get that in there. Hopefully there's enough light, guys. Hang on, I'll put this torch on. We'll get a bit of backlight in there. Me and my backlighting. And yeah, so that bar's all nicely bent up. It clears everything now. Yeah, so very happy with that. You know, it's taken a little bit of effort to get it all together, to get all the cowl vent back in and everything. But yeah, all the pins and the springs, you know, I had them soaking in vinegar for a couple of days to give them a really good clean up. I put new washers on it and new split pins. Haven't really opened them up yet, because in case I need to take it out. But yeah, it's all working. You know, that's the original spring that's been stretched. You know, it's not too bad. There's not a lot of resistance there now. It's quite nice. It's always going to have a little bit of a bind just here. It always did, even before I made any modifications. It's just the way it was set up. You know, as the arm comes back, the spring sort of wants to sometimes hit this arm. So it just depends how you pull on the handle. But yeah, that's not too bad. Like, I'm not struggling with that. It's all moving pretty good. So that's all done. I didn't get a chance to weld around here today. It's still only spot welded. I had to do a bit of uncle duty today and pick up my niece and drop her at home. Picked her up at 12:30, dropped her at home, had to pick her up again at 4:30 to take her to work at 5. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to do much today, but I'd say in the next couple of days I'm going to get this all fully welded in now. So yeah, happy with that. What else? Probably not much, guys. I haven't really done anything. Oh, the other thing I did today was had one of these old water bottles out of a, whatever they call them, fresh water machine that you have in the workplace. Cut the top off it. I kept the top because that'll make a great huge funnel. And this is what I used as my parts washing bucket for those mounts. I filled it up with hot water because it's really thick, so it's not going to melt. Filled it up with hot water, came in here and washed them in here. And I tell you, that hot water on the hands was beautiful. It didn't freeze my ass off, so it's great. It's got the handle on it, so if you guys get any of these, keep them, because they make a great portable parts washing bucket. And I've got, that's the offcut. Will make a good funnel. Yeah. I don't know what I'd ever use it for, but you just never know. You never have enough funnels. So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it here. Not much more to tell. I've just been sort of going flat out in the last couple of hours to get something done. I even bought out what I call beer, but it's alcoholic cider. That's what I drink. I'd like a sponsorship, please. That's been sitting there for hours. I haven't even cracked it. I just wanted to get some stuff done because I've been, as I said, a little bit busy the last couple of days, and needed to get some stuff done. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here, guys. Cheers. Sorry guys, I just thought I'd show you this before I went in, because I'd already showed you the other part, but yeah, that's how it'll go together. Obviously when it's all bolted in properly, there you go. So those ducts will work perfect on there. I'm pretty happy with that. It's turned out really good, guys. So anyway, I'm going in now because it's bloody freezing. Cheers.